let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. So not too long ago, Nintendo put up their first official video for the Nintendo Switch, which up until now we've been calling the Nintendo NX. After how the Nintendo Wii U was kind of a commercial flop, I'm really excited to see how they come back with the Nintendo Switch. So let's take a look at the video. The first thing we see is a man sitting on his couch playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. We're not going to talk about that because we already know how huge the hype for Breath of the Wild is. I really like the music they've got going in this scene. I don't know if it's Zelda music per se, but it's got that really smooth Nintendo... This head ain't gonna do it. It's hype time. The dude stands up, pulls a tablet out of the console, and walks off with the game in hand! That's right, the Nintendo Switch is the first bridge between handheld and home consoles. This concept has been touched on before, with like the PS4 being able to play on your Galaxy phone and stuff, but never before have we seen something this in-depth. The console itself can go from sitting on your TV to playing in the car just like that. Not even the Wii U was that good. For the first time since the GameCube, Nintendo's ditching the discs. That's right, there's no discs on the Switch. I don't know what that says for backwards compatibility, but apparently the Switch is going back to a cartridge-based system. From the looks of it, it looks like it's about the same size as your standard DS game. This is Monster Hunter 3, if anybody's curious. The next thing we see is this guy getting on a plane and pulls out a Switch, and there's a kickstand on the back. It looks a little weird to me, because he's just sitting there holding half the controller in each hand, but I'm sure Nintendo has a plan for that. Like, it's probably not going to be as awkward as it looks. Switch! Also, the Switch is getting Skyrim Special Edition. I don't know if that's as big a deal to me, to everybody else as it is to me, because I mean, we've had Skyrim for years, but I think it's pretty progressive that Skyrim is finally coming to a Nintendo console. And then we see this guy grab a Pro Controller and keep going right where he left off with Skyrim. That's a big one right there, because there are a lot of gamers out there who would look at the Switch controller and be like, ah, it's so blocky! I don't want to use a controller like that. And in part, I would almost agree with them. There are a lot of people out there who like controllers like this, a more modern shape of gamepad. And I feel like that's going to be especially a huge thing for Smash players, because, I mean, yeah, you can get used to the blocky controller that you have with the Wii U, but at the same time, it just feels better to have a regular controller in your hands. Also, apparently another thing they're touting is that the two halves of the Switch tablet controller thingy can be split between two players, and you can treat it as two controllers. It looks a little bit awkward, but I'm sure you'll be able to get used to it pretty quickly. And if you've got a friend who has a Switch, no problem. You can still do 4-player. Just split your two controllers up between 4 people and go to town. That's actually pretty dope. Now, this is something I'm curious about. What game is this? I've never seen this game before, this Mario game here. Is this like a next-gen Mario game they're making? I'm sure that's not the part I'm supposed to be excited about, but it is. Also, something I missed before. There's apparently a little block that you can attach both sides of the Switch controller to when you're not in tablet mode, and that's how you'll play regularly without a Pro Controller. That seems smart to me, because if you can't afford a Pro Controller right away, you'll still be able to get out there and play your games day one without having to hold one half of each controller in each hand. So that thing I said earlier about Switch, yeah, forget about that. And here's the big one. The Nintendo Switch is going to be pro-gamer friendly. Now that's not to say that Nintendo hasn't been pro-gamer friendly in the past. It just seems that they're starting to open up about it a little bit more nowadays, especially with this. It seems like they're really going to work with professional Splatoon players to make this console more pro-friendly than, say, the Wii was. Looking at you, Brawl. Tripping Crest. March 2017. Look who's finally making a comeback in this console generation. I can't tell you how excited I am for the Nintendo Switch. And apparently a lot of really big companies are too. I mean, look at this list of partners that they've already got lined up to work with Nintendo for games on the Switch. You've got Activision, Bandai, Bethesda, Capcom, Sega, Konami, Cryware, Autodesk, WB Games, freaking From Software! Are we gonna get Dark Souls on the Switch? That's dope! Also, Telltale Games, that's really cool too. You can bet that I'm gonna be first in line to get my hands on the Switch come March 2017. And I'm gonna try to make videos with it. I don't know if I can. But I'm really, really excited to see where Nintendo goes with the Switch. I don't know how to end this video, so I'm gonna let Nintendo do it for me!